Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Excuse the mess back there. I am actually trying to pack our hospital bag because we are about a month away from the birth of this next baby. So yeah, we're excited about that. But we've been MIA because we had a really weird January. So our year is basically starting in February. The baby's sick. We're sick. We're all still getting over it. It's actually been a couple of weeks, so we're all congested, and it's just been weird. But yeah, we'll get into that in a whole nother video, and I'll post clips of our January and our trip up to North Carolina and stuff like that. But for now, I wanted to get into a quick video as requested of what happened to Robbie and how my water broke at 22 weeks and the boys were born at 23 weeks. So just a warning, trigger warning, this video talks about infant death. So if that's a big trigger for you, you're going to want to click off now. But let's get started on that. So yeah, I was 22 weeks. And I'm going to preface this by saying that I had the worst doctors in the Auburn-Opelika area for most of my pregnancy. Our insurance was through TRICARE, and we were kind of stuck with this doctor because not many doctors around here take it. So we were waiting for our Blue Cross to kick in with Rob's new job, and then the day that the Blue Cross kicked in, I scheduled an appointment for a new doctor, and I saw that doctor on a Thursday, and my water broke that Sunday at exactly 22 weeks. So, what you doing, baby? So, yeah, it was like, I woke up in the morning, I was on bed rest, and I went to, big curl. I went to go sit on the couch, and I just felt something. Like, I went and I sat by my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I think my water broke. And she's like me. She does not do well in emergencies, so I don't know what I expected, but she was just like, okay, well, your brother's coming to pick me up, and I'm going to the store. Let me know what happens. So, granted, she couldn't do anything. It was the beginning of the shutdown. Things were just starting to shut down, beginning of the pandemic. And so, and she's like me. It's like emergencies, don't look at us. So, I ended up calling my husband. He had just gotten off of work. He was working the night shift, and Roman likes playing with that little toy back there. Well, not toy, it's a bottle. But I called my husband, and I'm like, babe, I think my water broke. And he's like, fuck, you know. He's like, go check and let me know. And he's like, I'll get back dressed and we'll go. So I went to the bathroom, and sure enough, I was not peeing, I was leaking. So I get up, and I tell him, I'm like, my water broke. So we both like rush to put on anything, and we rush to the hospital. And so we get to the hospital, and the doctor's like, okay, well, let's do a test to make sure it is your water and not urine. So he tested the fluid. Sure enough, it was my water. And so he basically said, hey, our NICU is not equipped for this. And he's like, you know, you can have the babies here. We'll put them on your chest, and then they'll pass away unless we can get the doctors at Birmingham to take you. And Birmingham's like about 3 hours from us. We're in Auburn-Opelika, and Birmingham's like the top of Alabama. So he called up there, and he came back in the room like 10 minutes later. He's like, they agreed to take you. You know, I was 22 weeks to the day, and viability is at 24 weeks. So, I'll insert a fact, because there was another lady up there who gave birth at 21 weeks. And she was up there the same time we were. But back to the story. So um, he ended up giving me a shot of steroids and magnesium, and I felt like I was going to die. It was horrible, 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 horrible. Okay, so it was super horrible, and so I felt like I was going to die. Rob was putting cold cloths and everything on my head and on my neck, and the nurse was just sitting there typing in her report, and the doctor just was like, that's an effect of the medication. So I was sitting there feeling like I was going to die for about 10-15 minutes. And then when it finally wore down, they loaded me up into an ambulance and they took me up to Birmingham. And Rob went home to pack a bag. He didn't know what to pack, so he just packed whatever he thought was going to make me comfortable. It was 20-something weeks, shut down. We didn't know what was going on, so he just threw whatever in the bag and rushed up the road. So I get up there, they check me in, they tell me basically I'm going to be sitting there for 18 weeks until the babies are born. They're going to take out my cerclage in a couple of days, and then I'll just be in the hospital. I'm like, cool, I'll sit here for 18 weeks and wait for these babies. I have no problem with that. So a couple of days later, they're like, okay, we have to take out your cerclage because if you go into full-blown labor, excuse me, like if you go into full-blown labor, then your uterus will explode and you and the babies will die. I'm like, okay, well, take it out. So they take out the cerclage, and the next day I'm in the bathroom and I am having cramps, just little cramps, little annoying cramps, nothing big. And I'm wondering what's going on, and Rob's like, what's taking you so long in the bathroom? And I'm like, I'm just having these little cramps. Maybe we should talk to the doctor. He's like, the doctor's in the room, and she's been waiting on you. And the doctor's like, yeah, come on out and I'll check you. As soon as I get on the table, as soon as I spread my legs, doctor's like, oh, you are 10 centimeters. Your water looks infected. She's like, we got to go. So they rushed me back to surgery, and I had an emergency C-section. They knocked me out. They put a needle in my arm, knocked me out, and I was just out for 24 hours. I didn't see my babies till the next day. So Rob, he woke me up like with a joke, like, oh, you ready for a little girl? And I'm just like, no, I was in so much pain. And it turned out he was trying to keep his own spirits up, because it turned out I bled out. I needed blood transfusions. Babies were born not breathing. They had to be intubated. It's expected that early, and they basically told him, you almost lost your whole family in one surgery. Your wife, your kids, everything. You'd be walking out of this hospital by yourself. So he was just trying to keep his own spirits up, which is understandable. And so I saw my babies 24 hours later, and they were so beautiful, so tiny. Robbie was 1 pound, 7 ounce, 12.5 inches. Roman was 1 pound, 5 ounce, 11.5 inches. So he was a little smaller. And, things were okay while I was in the hospital. But I had a really bad feeling. I had a really, really bad feeling. So they really had to talk me out of that hospital when I got discharged. Like, they really did. So COVID was there. And they were telling us, even though it was 2 babies, 2 separate patients, only one of us could be there. And it was going to be Rob, because I had just had a C-section and I couldn't move around. So, yeah. So Rob has to drive the 3 hours to go see the babies all the time. And he's going back and forth, back and forth. And the country shut down, so, he doesn't mind because he doesn't have to work or whatever. So he's going back and forth to check on the babies, and they're having issues. And I'm not going to get into all the issues that they were having. It was just like, it required some meds, and we feel like the med issue was not handled correctly. So we're not going to get into all that, but they were doing what are these things called where you tap into the baby's spine. They were doing that to Robbie because he was a bigger twin almost every day. And I feel like that's part of what causes death, is the stress on his little body. So that and an overdose, but I'm not, like, we really cannot get into that. But yeah, I got a call one day and they're like, your baby's coding. And I'm like, which one? And they're like, baby A, the bigger baby. And so we put on our clothes, we rush out of the house, and we rush all the way up to Birmingham. And we're halfway there when we get the call saying, you know, your baby passed away. So, like, being so far away, not being there for him, gutted both of us. So it was so painful. And we get up there and we basically lose it. We lose our shit in the hospital, and we're holding our baby and we're saying goodbye to our baby. And I'm not gonna get into all of that. Like, it was a process. So then after we say goodbye to Robbie, I go over to Roman's incubator, and are you back there pooping? My baby's back there. Gonna change his pamper. But he makes me smile. But I go to say hi to my baby because I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. And as soon as he hears my voice, he lets out the most pitiful scream and cry, and it breaks my heart, and I'm just bawling. And we did not hear that sound again until he was over a year old. He's sitting there, a little 25-week-old baby, little fetus, just in there just crying. You know, he finally heard his mother's voice again, and, you know, we feel like he knew his brother was gone. So it was so sad. And they told us, because we were like, something has to give. We both want to be here for this baby, you know, in case anything happens, because he was pretty sick too. And they're like, well, you know, since you guys live far away, I don't know why they didn't tell you that both of you guys could be in here. And we're like, you can't tell us that so we could both be here for Robbie, because me having a C-section, I still 100% would have been there for my son every day if I could. Like, every trip Rob made, I would have made. But they didn't tell us that. And so it was like a lot of lack of communication with the staff and all this other stuff. But yeah, that was basically the story of the birth. And I will get into everything that happened with Roman in the NICU in another video. He had some great nurses. He had some bad nurses. It was just a whole thing. But yeah, that's the story of what happened to the babies. And so thank you for following. I'm still getting over my postpartum depression. Like, I'm trying to get it together. I'm seeing a therapist. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to, like, get it together for my baby. So in the spirit of the next one coming in a couple weeks, that's what happened. That's our video. That's our story time. So yeah, stay tuned. Keep up with us. And, like, we're here. All right.